Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Abisola here, and in today's video I'm just going to be talking about some of the things that I am doing that's helping me thrive as a new mom of three. So I don't have my mom or my mother-in-law around for omugwo, and that's like for support during this period. I live in United Kingdom, myself and my husband. We have two boys already, and I've just had recently a new baby girl. And with my first son, I had my mom come over. She was here like 2 weeks before I had my baby. She was around for a couple of weeks, a few weeks after that. And she was there to support with my first baby. And with my second son as well, I had my mother-in-law come over, although she wasn't able to make it because there was a delay in her visa approval and all of that, but she still came a month after I delivered my second son. So I had that support there, and between my first son and my second son, there were some things that I noticed that, knowing that, I thought to myself that I want to be more proactive about my postpartum period with my baby that I've just had. So what are some of the things that I did? And I think it's important to highlight that as human beings, we are tripartite in nature. We have a spirit, we live in a body, and we have a soul. And it is important that we cater to each and every aspect of ourselves during this period. Because I made some mistakes before and didn't maybe pay attention to one area while I was, looking after the other areas, I found that there was like a lag and like a lapse somewhere. So with this time around, having a lot of thought and a lot of intention into every single aspect of myself as a woman, feel well, like recovered, rested, things that are literally important to me, and I can't, compromise on in that way, or things that will make me feel like I'm thriving, like I am myself, like I am flourishing, doing everything I ought to do. Yeah, those are the kind of things that I make sure I put in place this time around when postpartum. So what's the first thing? I'll start from the body, because obviously you've housed this amazing human being in your body for the last 9 months. A lot of things has happened in your body. Your body has stretched to accommodate this baby. You've probably developed stretch marks with your first baby. Different things have happened. I know some people are like, no stretch mark on this lane. So many things, so many changes has happened in your body, in your hormones, in your skin, in your your diet, your eating, depending on even your health while you're pregnant. If you had any any need to be on any medication, any diabetic medication, any of this, a lot of things would have happened to your body. So firstly, I want you to just know that your body has been through a lot, and your body needs to recover gradually, and you should not force yourself or rush yourself into anything immediately. Recognize that. Thank God for the power of your body, whether you give birth vaginally or you give birth through cesarean section. Your body has been through a lot, so that the recovery postpartum with vaginal birth is different from recovery to cesarean section. But I can only speak to vaginal birth, because that's how I had my baby. That's how I've had all my baby. Vaginal birth, pushing baby through, sometimes you have tears, you have all sorts. So you have to make sure you look after yourself down there. If you have any kind of tear, it's bad, or anything of that nature that could affect the suturing that was done postpartum. So that's something that you have to put into consideration. Breast at this point is beginning to, that you are breastfeeding, your baby's latching on, and they're calling the milk forth. So it can be very tender, it can be very painful. Even your nipples might even crack, depending on your nipple size and all of that. But in my case, my nipple, it does crack, and it's just to make sure that you have the balm, the Lacino balm. I'll put a picture of it somewhere here so you can see it. It's the nipple cream to help soothe and maybe that some of that crack that you might develop. You also have to remember as well that you need to rest. You actually need to rest. I don't know, especially depending on your labor, how long it was, all of that kind of stuff. You need to rest. You're like I don't know how to emphasize how much you need to rest. And sometimes it might be tricky and difficult for some of us that live here in the that we live away from our family support, that you don't have maybe your mom in the house with you when you just had your baby, or someone that can just come and sit with your baby when you go to bed. But it's a matter of conversation between yourself and your spouse. If they want to maybe rest a bit during the night, so you can rest during the day, or vice versa, however you want to do it. It is very, very crucial and important that you take your rest paramount, because your body and how well rested you are, acted or tired you feel, affects your emotions. It affects your cognitive function. It affects how you experience things. You can just become easily triggered and overly tired and overly exasperated easily, because you haven't obviously been resting enough. So it's very important that you take your rest very seriously. So have a conversation with your spouse. So what I did before I had my baby was I spoke to a couple of my friends and I said to them that, I would really like them to be there for me in this period, however they can be. If they're able to take leave of work, if they're able to take any extra time off work to help, I would really appreciate it. And, a couple of them actually, did that, and their help was able to help myself and my husband, as we did not have any other family member coming into the United Kingdom to be with us. Make sure that you prioritize your rest. It is very important. You see, that sleep did was I also expressed my milk a lot. As soon as my milk came on the third day, the first 3 days, baby's trying to get the milk out and all of that. Well, for me, I didn't pump before going to the hospital. I started expressing when baby arrived, and she started latching on the milk, on the breast herself. So it took a couple of days for the milk to fully come. It was a colostrum she was having initially, and I wasn't harvesting that. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that I expressed my milk. I have a bottle. I have bottles sterilized, everything, and milk stored. So my husband was able to give her milk during the day while I rested a little bit in the morning to recover from being awake all night while he was on paternity leave. So that rest is very, 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 very crucial. Okay, rest of your body would inadvertently affect also how you're feeling in your soul. I've already kind of linked 2 points, which is rest and asking for help. I asked for help a lot from my friends when baby first arrived, with the washing of baby, being around. I wanted to have my friends around as well, as my husband, just to be there, because he himself is tired. Not tired, but he's looking after the older kids, still doing a lot of things, very, still very demanding for him as well. So I wanted to have extra support for us there. And I remember speaking to my friend and just sharing that I did not want to be I didn't want to feel like I was by myself, and not that we couldn't do it ourselves, but it just made things easier for us rather than putting all of that pressure on ourselves. So yeah, my friend came over. She was on her big bed baby first day, dressed her. They were around to just hold her for me at some point if I wanted to go lie down. So yeah, for the first 1 week, I had that level of input coming in, and it was from people that I wanted to come. I also had a friend's sister who is here with us as well in this city that we stay. I had her also massage my body. Some people don't like it, the hot massage that you get when you have a baby. Some people don't like it. Some people are like, no, miss me. Why is anybody touching my body, please? But for me, I love it. I'm a spa girly. I love to have massages. I love hot water, and I loved particularly having that massage. It made my body stretch in ways that were phenomenal, and I was able to rest as well afterwards. So I asked for help. I received the help. When my inclination to say, I'm fine, comes up, I'm like, nah, yes, please, I'll have that. When people ask me what do I want, I asked for food. Listen, people of God, food food is essential. Food is life. So for the first 1 month actually of giving birth, I didn't step into the kitchen to cook any food, and my husband didn't have to either, because our friends and family, our friends brought food for us, lots of food for us, and we also ordered like extra food to have in the house during this period, so we could just not feel the pressure and you need to start cooking. And African dishes are not meals that you can make in like 2 seconds or in 1 hour. They take a lot of prep, a lot of time to cook. So for that reason, if anyone asked me at that period what I wanted, I was just intentional to ask, oh, I don't mind for you to help me with food. In that manner, I was able to do that. Yeah. Another thing as well that I found really helpful in terms of my body, and I'm about to wrap the body part up now, is taking my supplements. So with my first son, when I delivered, I wasn't actually taking any supplements. I didn't take anything, and a few months into that period, a few months postpartum, about 6 months, I actually lost some of my hair at that period. So I learned that lesson. And when I had my second son, what I did was, from immediately after I gave birth, I continued to take my pregnant care, and they have a postpartum one. I'll probably insert a picture here. So the one I take now is just the one from the NHS that they give you in a bottle. I'll also insert a picture of it here. Some vitamin D, C, and folic acid medication. So I take that on a daily basis, and that just helps to fortify me in all the nutrients that I am depleting from breastfeeding at this period of time. Nutrients as well that I might have lost of conception and pregnancy and delivery and all of that. So it's very essential. Make sure that you are taking your postpartum supplement. It is super important. Don't think it to be like a luxury or something that, no, it's essential. Make sure that you're taking your medication as well postpartum. It really does go a long way. So I'm going to move on next to the soul. So what are some of the things that I did? You know, as women, when we have babies, our hormones are everywhere. Your estrogen levels, your progesterone, everything is just like all over the place. And it's important for me to actually state at this point that you are the one that determines what happens in your soul. It's your choice. You're not subject to those emotions that you feel, and it is important that you recognize that you're not like driven by them. You can direct and give them direction, because God gave us those hormones, and those hormones affect our emotions, but He gave us those things for a reason, because obviously our maternal instincts have to be kicked in. We have to be very sensitive, alert. It's what makes a woman super protective of her baby when she has a baby, you know, very watchful, very alert. All of those things are what God has given us. So it's our responsibility to manage it and not let it go to the other side and become fearful, overwhelmed, sad, depressed, and all of those things that naturally might come as a result of giving birth postpartum. So for you not to get into that state, okay, it's important that you are proactive about your soul recovery and your well-being of your inner life. Okay, that's your soul consists of your emotions, your intellect, your will, your mind. That's where all of that sits. So it's important that you govern yourself. And how do you do this? What helps you do this? As I said, resting is very essential in relation to your emotional and soul well-being. So if you are resting well, it will help as well with your soul recovery and your nourishing your soul, making sure that you have a safe, you feel emotionally safe, you feel emotionally cared for. I would say it's important that you ask your spouse for ask your spouse when you need it. Okay, sometimes they may not know, but if you need a hug, if you need a moment to just have a shoulder to lean on, if you need someone to just take your baby so you can spend some time with yourself, it is okay, and it is not selfish. If you want to spend some time reading, take some time to read, to journal. And on journaling, I'm going to plug you to an essential resource. I ordered this beautiful journal from my friend. Look, her name is Yemi Ayodeji. She's actually here on YouTube, and she sent a thank you in the order. This is actually a journal that she sent. She says, "Dear Abisola, always remember you are fearfully and wonderfully made, created with intention, called to abundance, and chosen for victory. Rise, flourish, and walk unveiled." How absolutely adorable is that? God bless her. So this is the packaging. Look at that. Very sleek, very pretty. Let me just put that there. And her coaching company is called A Fresh Start. If you need any coaching on self-discovery, anything of that nature, she is your plug. Okay, so I haven't used this journal, I'm not gonna lie. However, I am certain, I haven't used this journal, but I'm certain of the quality of work that has gone into it, because she sent it to me before she finally sent it to print, and it is just so pretty. Look at it. Yeah, I'll probably put the link in the description box for you to order it if you want to. And here, there's a quote here that says, "I'm not afraid of storms, for I am learning how to sail my ship." I love it. So it's a very pretty journal. Something like this will be really good for you. It will help you to just, determine what is important. It's a guided journal. It has thoughts, it has prompts. It is so excellent, honestly, and it is really, 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 really well made. So if you want something to journal with and you don't know where to start, this is an excellent start. It's like a guided journal. It helps you to think about things you want to focus on about yourself, that reminds you and connects you to yourself and to God. So yeah, please make sure you get the Unveil journal. I journal a lot. I'm someone that I've journaled since even before, like, I don't know. I've always loved journaling and journaling my thoughts. I had a diary when I was in secondary school. So I've always kept the habit of journaling from a very young age. So I love to journal. I love to reflect. So when I journal, I write, I thank God. I remember when I came back from the hospital, I just wrote to God to thank him for the delivery of our baby and all of that. I just reflected on the delivery day. I knew that there is nobody else that could have helped us if not for God being with us in that moment. So I reflected. I thank God for it, for our delivery, for the support that we had as a family. I was very intentional to thank God for it. Thank God for my friends. Thank God for the gifts of people, because a lot of people gifted to us in ways that, really, really blew my mind. And I know that we have, people that do care about us and love us. And there's something about journaling that just connects you back to yourself. You are aligned inside. You're not just moving like a zombie through the world, like you are consciously living. You're not living by default. So yeah, journaling is very essential for you to just connect back to yourself. Okay, what are your fears? What are your worries? What things do you want to put out there? But mine was focused more on Thanksgiving, because I was genuinely thankful for the help that we have received from God, from people, those that close, far, everyone. Yeah, so that was what I did with my journaling time, and it just grounded me a little bit more in Thanksgiving. So yeah, aside from journaling, what other things can you do for your soul? This talking to someone, I find it very therapeutic, talking to my friends, talking to my husband, talking to them about something that is happening in those moments as I'm looking after my baby. Because sometimes just being by yourself, doing it all by yourself, day in, day out, can feel a bit, I don't know how to explain it. It can become a bit tiring at some point, especially when you're the primary one caring for your child. So it's essential that you talk to other people, have conversations with them, involve them, obviously people that are safe, people of God. I'm not talking about people that are problematic in their paradigms, that always have an opinion, that want to tell you what to do and want to tell you how you are doing something wrong. Those are not the kind of people I'm talking about. I'm talking about emotionally safe people that you are vetted, they have tried over time, they respect you, we respect them, they operate within the boundaries of things that are safe for you. That's very important. So yeah, and the other thing I'll say as well is give yourself grace for the people that you might not be able to be in regular touch with in this period, because sometimes you're literally awake all night and you're trying to just rest during the day, and some people are calling you during the day. If you're not able to pick the call, give yourself grace. Don't let anybody put you under pressure that you're a bad person for not being able to pick their call immediately when they call you. When you're able to return the call, obviously return the call, drop a message, let them know, stay in contact, obviously, so you don't hurt the relationships that are in your life that are trying to also be there for you, or at least be a part of this stage in your life. So just find a way around it, but you need to remember to give yourself grace. One of the things that I did is, after a few weeks of, I think I started going out at 3 weeks postpartum, and that was because I just realized that I didn't like the way I was just feeling cooped up in the house a little bit. So I needed to just go out, some fresh air, converse with people. And fortunately, around that period, there were a couple of parties an event to attend. So I was out. I just, expressed the milk. My husband wasn't going for some of those parties. So I obviously had milk in the freezer, and my husband was able to look after her. I was gone for maybe like 3 hours, 4 hours max. But those 3 to 4 hours did something for me. Honestly, I just liked going out and airing. It was like airing myself. Like, yeah, some like a breath of fresh air. Another thing I did was I would just ask my friend if she wanted to go to town. It was around a festive period as well, November to be precise. So I was able to go to the shop, maybe pick a couple of things for the boys, things that I needed to do, and it just helped me to feel like I was getting on and on top of things, but I wasn't doing it by myself. I had my friend with me to go out. And then after a couple of times, I actually went out with myself. I was able to go out, go shopping for the boys' Christmas stuff, and yeah, manage myself while I was outside without any help in that sense. So yeah, those are some of the things you can do, just things that will make you still be involved holistically in life and not just be sucked in one realm without being able to do other things that are still very, very important to you. And finally, but not the least thing, is going to be the spirit man. How do you keep your spirit man alive? As you know, I'm a Christian, and it is very important to me that my walk with God does not suffer because I just had a baby. And I know people talk about how they sometimes experience a decline in their walk with God because they've just had a baby and they're unable to keep up. I think sometimes it might just be because of religious ideas of what prayer and fellowship with God looks like that might make one feel like that and feel like they can't continue to thrive in their relationship with God. So personally, some of the things I do is AirPods are an essential part of this. So in the middle of the night when my baby is awake and maybe wanting to just play, she's not crying, she's not needing anything, she just maybe wants to be awake, what do? I have my AirPods, I plug them in, I have worship playing, and I'm praying in the Holy Spirit while playing with her. Not necessarily being super loud because my husband is sleeping next to me, but I do that on a regular basis, and that keeps me, grounded. God speaks to me. I read my Bible on my YouVersion Bible app in the middle of the night. Everywhere is dark, but I carry my Bible, I open it and I read it as well, because I know during the day I'll have to rest, and as I'm waking up, sometimes people are coming over to visit me around those periods as well. So plug my AirPods in, I pray in the spirit a lot. I follow my church as well online, stay in touch with the messages that I need to listen to from church that are happening. I stay connected to my kingdom communities I'm a part of, to pray and worship and pray and just continue to edify myself. Other things that I do includes, so even when I'm looking after her, sometimes I'm literally declaring over her and praying over her. As I'm cleaning her legs, I'm declaring over her legs that these your legs are going to be legs that go ahead to preach the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm praying over every part of her body, over her eyes, as I'm touching her head, I'm praying over her mind that the Spirit of the Lord God is upon you, the Spirit of understanding, the Spirit of counsel, the Spirit of might, the Spirit of the fear of the Lord, your delight is the fear of the Lord all the days of your life. I'm declaring those scriptures over her. I'm praying for our brothers as well. As I'm bathing her, as I'm doing activities for her. In fact, the time when I'm bathing for her, I usually have worship on, and I'm just praying in the spirit over her, praying, saturating my atmosphere consistently with, the presence of God, with prayers, with declarations, with words of what I want to see coming out of our lives, in that regard. So yeah, I pray a lot in the spirit. I pray a lot in my understanding and declaration over her, and I just connect everything I'm doing back to God. And as I said, I like to journal, and journaling is one of the things I love to do with God. If there's any worries that I have, anything that I write it to God and I air it out to Him. Something I cannot tell any other person. I talk to Him about it, and I look to His word to give me answers. And surely, as God is, He does provide answers. Just have worship playing in the house in the background. I dance a lot. I don't even need music to dance. Sometimes I dance, I rejoice, I keep a spirit of joy. The atmosphere of joy is the kingdom of God is righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. I keep an atmosphere of joy around my home, in music as much as possible, in declaration. I just dance, have worship, just stewarding that atmosphere of joy, so that I'm not cranky with the boys when they come and they want to play with their sister. I'm intentionally just looking at the state of my heart. I'm turning it towards God, turning it towards joy, turning it towards, thanksgiving for what God has done and what God is doing. I'm not despising this season because I'm not No, I don't despise season. It's a season, and it's a joyful season for me to be able to look after my child. So yeah, these are some of the few things that I do to maintain holistic thriving environments for myself, for my family, for my children while I am on this postpartum journey. I hope that this video has been a blessing to you one way or the other. Please feel free to comment what you do as your practice that makes you feel connected to yourself holistically postpartum, and I can even learn from you. There's something that you think you do that I don't do, that I've not talked about. Please kindly write it down, and if I don't yet do it, I'll probably adopt yours as well. Until next time I come your way, do stay blessed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.